This is a really quick video on how to use MindTap. First of all, make sure all of your pop-up blockers are off because a lot of MindTap is going to work in those pop-ups. So depending on what browser you're using, Firefox or Google Chrome work the best. Just make sure that you have disabled those pop-up blockers. There's a couple of different ways you can get into it. First of all, this is our main course content page. Yours might look a little bit different because I'm in the teacher version. So I'm going to click on MindTap Cengage Literature. And it does take just a second. I know I'm impatient, so sometimes if it's taking a second, I want to start clicking on things because I think something's going wrong. But it just does take a second to pop up, so just be patient. Don't be like me. Okay, I'm going to change the main view. This one with the 3 large bars is my favorite because I think you can kind of see everything that you're working with. Most everything that we're going to be reading is going to be in this anthology of literary texts. And it has it separated just like our classes. So we've got short stories, which is what we're going to start with, then drama, and then poetry. And we've also got a novel right here. So I'm going to click on short stories. Now we are obviously not going to read all of these short stories. I have pulled out some specific ones that I want you to read and focus on. And so let me scroll down. Here's Kate Chopin's Story of an Hour. This is one of the first ones we'll read. So I'm going to click on this. Okay. And there's always some introductory information. I'm a big fan of that kind of information because it gives you sometimes some information about the author or the time period. I don't necessarily require them, but I find them to be really, really helpful with some context that I think you'll enjoy. So you can click on here, Story of an Hour. There is a quiz here. I don't have any of these quizzes that you have to take. You are certainly welcome to at any point if you want to test your knowledge. At some point, maybe if I'm getting more comfortable with MindTap, maybe I'll do those for extra credit. I'm not sure. I'll think about it. So if you want to try it out and let me know what you think, that would be great. So I'm going to click on Kate Chopin's Story of an Hour. And that came up. That's bad. So let me close this out. Sometimes that happens. If it does, I usually find that the second round usually works. You know what? While we're here, I'm going to back out and actually show you a different way to access the literature that I think you might prefer. You'll probably use this more often. So when I go into the Module 1 Fiction, and I'm going to click on Fiction again, here we have Kate Chopin's Story of an Hour. Anytime you see this blue confetti, that's a link to MindTap. So if you click on that, it should go right to the story. And again, you sometimes have to wait for a second. Here we go. All right. So let's click on this, and it goes to Questia. All right, and it takes us right to the story. So it's sort of, remember, it's not like a web page. It's like a book on your screen, so you still need to scroll through. So let's say we're reading along, you use this button here, click through, and the story continues. This is not a really long story, but you just keep scrolling through like a regular textbook. You can bookmark here, you can cite it, and it'll help you cite this, adding a note to the page for yourself. I don't think I have access to those. The table of contents will actually link to a table of contents. This is an anthology for Kate Chopin, so none of her other works are required, but if you really like her and you want to read something else, by all means. So that's just a really different way to access the works. And I think you'll probably end up using that the most. That's what I use the most. Here's another way to get to the MindTap is over here in the menu. So I'm going to click on that because I want to show you a few of the bars that you have access to that I think you will use and like. If you leave the pop-up open, it doesn't actually take this long. I'm lame and I keep clicking on close. Okay, so I'm back to this page. Sometimes we'll use this anthology of casebooks, but again, where I could, I linked directly to the work. But over here on the bar, you can actually see some of the other things that come along with MindTap that I think you will like. These are all free, and you can access any and all that you want to use. Here's a dictionary, so if you stumble across a word you're not familiar with. Glossaries. Here's a portfolio system. I've never used that before, and we won't use it in this class, but if you've used it, I'd love to hear about it. Here you can actually click on the full book itself, and actually, I'm not sure if you can download it, but you can see it more like a textbook. Progress I don't think we'll need because most of your assignments are in Blackboard and not in MindTap. Study Hub is a place where you can do flashcards and you can do some study notes and that sort of thing. I'm still getting used to it. Here's the read speaker. I definitely want to highlight this, especially when we get to poetry or if you are an auditory learner. Feel free to use this as often as you wish. Certainly with poetry, there's some poems that just sound better. They make more sense when you hear them, so use this definitely for poetry. But if you're an auditory learner, please feel free to use that. It should have that on all of the works. Here's my favorite. This is Questia, so I'm going to click on this little orange, red, pinkish eye. This is in addition to the library databases. It's another database that you can research. You can use to look up different academic journal articles on the works that we're working with. So for your final essay, let's say you're going to do one on Kate Chopin. Let me put in story. I can't type today. Story of an hour as keywords. Let's see what comes up. Okay, and then here's academic journals. I'm going to highlight that because, as you know, these are the ones to use. Sometimes magazines, sometimes newspapers, but academic journals I think is going to be your best choice. Some of them won't work, but let's see. I actually really liked this first one. Oh, that was about Nigeria. So because of the title of the story, it kind of comes out a little bit different, so we might need to look up Kate Chopin. Modernism and violence in England and Ireland actually, surprisingly enough, might work. But anyway, I just kind of wanted to show you this and see, make sure that you were aware of it. I think you're really going to like it. I'm still learning about MindTap, so there might be some times this semester where I need to ask somebody to kind of try something out just to be a guinea pig. And if you're willing to do that, I hope you will, and you'll let me know. So hopefully you'll enjoy this and you find it easier to use than a regular textbook. I look forward to your feedback.